Hey, everybody, this is Helena Hart. Welcome to my Master Your Magnetism podcast, where I help you create the life and relationship you've always wanted. I'm streaming this episode live on YouTube today. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else, and you'd like to see a video of this episode, that will be the first link in the description or episode details. And hello to everyone watching me live. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll get to as many as I can at the end. So I recently did a live stream on 7 things a man will say if he's using you. And after seeing some of the comments and questions that were posted under that video, I decided to do a whole nother episode on this topic because I've really found that you often have all the answers inside of you in terms of your intuition and some of these things that you're saying to yourself or others. But it can be easy to miss some of those signs if you don't have this awareness, especially when you have strong feelings for a man and you're really hoping that everything's going to work out. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos on how to have the relationship you've always wanted. Hi to everyone in the chat. Again, I'll get to as many questions as I can at the end. So I'm just going to jump right in. The first thing that you might be saying to yourself or anyone else if a man is using you is, I've been talking to this guy for X amount of months or years. I can't tell you how many women I hear from who say, I've been talking to this guy for 6 months, or I've been talking to this guy for 2.5 years. And I really don't want you talking to a guy for months and months and months, and of course, several years and beyond, because the guy who is going to want to move things forward and pursue you for a committed relationship is not the guy who just shows up on your phone a couple times a month or just texts you endlessly, right? And I know as women, we can get really emotionally invested or attached to a man when he's calling us every day and we're talking to him and we're kind of holding out hope that one day he'll ask us out and move things forward. But it's a completely different experience with a man who's truly interested and available for the kind of relationship you want. It's just totally different. So he's going to not want to be texting you endlessly or talking to you endlessly. Let me know if you've ever had that experience in the comment section or the live chat. If you're listening live, I'd love to hear from everyone. But I see this all the time in the comment sections of some of my videos. People say, I've been talking to this guy for several months or years. And especially if a guy knows that you'd be interested in actually meeting up in person and having a regular dating relationship, if you say something like, it's been great getting to know you, this has been so much fun, communicating or talking, and it would feel great to meet up in person sometime. Or what I'm really looking for is a regular dating relationship where we can meet in person. If he knows that and he just continues to text you or call you and he doesn't make plans to see you and move things forward continuously, it's a sign that he's just using you. And one question I get all the time is, well, if we're not sleeping together or if we're not intimate or even physically seeing each other at all, how can he be using me? But the truth is he's getting something out of it. It could be an ego boost. It could be just helping his confidence while he goes out and pursues other women he's actually really interested in. It could be all kinds of things. So if you're getting something out of it too, if you're happy to just respond to a guy and have this kind of pen pal text buddy relationship, that's fine. But most women in this situation, they're not at that place. They're actually hoping for more. And so they're kind of hoping that if they're just really cool and funny and they show this guy every single thing they have to offer, eventually he'll see them as relationship material and actually move this forward in real life. But it just doesn't happen. So you want to catch that right away. If you're saying anything that sounds like, I've been talking to this guy for several months or years and he's not moving things forward. So the second thing that you might be saying if a guy is using you is anything that sounds like, I'm so confused or I'm so exhausted or anything like that. When a man is truly for you and he's really interested in pursuing you for something serious, you're not going to be confused. I always say what's truly for you will bring you clarity, not confusion. It'll just be so clear because he'll make it obvious with his actions that he wants you in his life and he wants to move things forward and pursue you for a serious relationship. So if you're feeling confused, it's always a red flag. Like I mentioned in the first one, you can always ask for clarity. You can always say, hey, I've been feeling a little bit confused. is there something I should know, and see what he says? But if anything sounds like an excuse coming out of his mouth after that, like, well, I've just been so busy, or I love you, but we're just friends, I'm not really available for something serious, it's a clue that he's just not going to be in it for the long haul. And that's what you want, right? And this one might not be an indication that he's like using you, but if he's continuing to keep you around, if he knows that you would commit to him in a heartbeat if he were ready, there's just something about that doesn't sit right with me. It's he's like taking all the benefits he can of being around you and having that companionship. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean anything physical. He could just like being around your feminine energy or presence. And if he knows that you want more and that's not what he wants, you just don't want to keep men around in your sphere like that. So let me know if you've ever felt confused with a man. I've certainly been in that situation before. I think we can all relate to that. The third thing that you might be saying if a man is using you is anything that sounds like repeating his excuses to other people or to yourself, or rationalizing why he's not prioritizing you or committing to the kind of relationship you want. So your friends might ask something like, when was the last time you saw him? Or when's your next date? When, what's the plan? When are you going to see him again? If you find yourself spouting out all the excuses he's been giving you lately, like, well, he's just so busy right now, he has his family staying with him this week, and then he has a work project next week, and it just isn't a great time. He's going through something, and it's almost like you're his secretary, sort of just repeating all the excuses that he's given you over the last few weeks or months or even years. It's a clue that, again, he wants you in his life. He doesn't want to let you go, but he really is not at a place where he's going to commit to the kind of relationship you want. And he most likely never will be. Men like this who have all these excuses and they're just so busy, when they meet a woman who really does it for them, they're really feeling it for her, they become ready really quickly. So I don't want you hanging around a guy like this for months or years or even decades. And then he meets another woman who is really right for him in his mind, and he just commits to her immediately, marries her a year later. I hear from women all the time in that situation. It's just heartbreaking for them. So I don't want you getting in a situation like that. And by the way, make sure to stay to the end of this video, because number 7 is the most important sign. It's a surefire sign a man is using you if you're saying this or some version of it. So you don't want to miss that one. Number 4 is anything that sounds like, why must we play all these games? Or I'm so sick of dating these childish men, or men need to grow up and stop acting like little boys. Anything that sounds like that, that one just kind of makes me laugh. But it's a big clue that you're stuck on the wrong kind of man. You just won't be saying those things with the right guy, because again, he'll make it obvious and clear with his actions that he's serious about you and ready to move things forward. So, yes, this one particular man you might be stuck on right now might need to grow up, and you might be sick of dealing with him. But if you're keeping him around and not letting him go, you're sort of sending this signal out, not just to him that you're okay with his crumbs, but kind of to the whole universe, that I'm okay not being a top priority in a man's life. I'm okay being second best. And this is what I'm available for. So if a woman is engaging with a man on that lower level, she often doesn't attract men on these higher levels where they're available for the kind of intimate, close, committed relationship she wants. You have to move through the wrong men first and let them go in order to kind of move up to the next tier and start attracting more high quality available men. I did a whole video on that on my YouTube channel called Avoid This Hidden Trap at All Costs. If you don't want to get your heart broken, it's a short video. I highly recommend checking that one out. I can include a link to that in the description of this video after the replay posts if you find yourself saying some of those things, because it's really, really important. So number 5 is anything that sounds like, how do I get him to get over his ex, or forget about this other woman, or choose me over her, or anything like that. I talked about this in my last live stream on 7 things a man will say if he's using you. If there's another woman in the picture, I would certainly drop that guy and move on. Now, if he has children with his ex or something like that, obviously she's going to be a part of his life. But I'm saying if his romantic energy is going out towards another woman or other women, and it's been months and he knows that you would commit to him in a heartbeat, he's just keeping you around because he's using you. So if you find yourself wondering what you could do to get him to, choose you over someone else, or get over his ex, or forget about this other woman that he's also talking to, I would just drop that guy and move on. And again, he could just be using you for an ego boost. He could be really interested in this other woman, and you're kind of helping his confidence by having another woman that he's texting. It's a narcissistic behavior. Not that any guy that does that is a narcissist, but a lot of narcissists have this kind of like harem of women around, and they'll keep them on ice. They'll sort of put them on the back burner, and the one person that's like, he's getting that main supply from, she's getting all the lion's share of his attention. But once he gets bored with her, he puts her on ice or on the back burner and goes and pursues someone else. You just don't want to be in a situation where a man has his romantic energy going out towards other women. At least I wouldn't. That would never feel good to me. I would never in a million years put myself in a situation like that. I don't want you to either. It's just a total recipe for heartbreak. So number 6 is something like, we've been on and off for 8 months or 4 years or 10 years or 15 years. I hear from women who have been on and off with a man for years or even decades. So to me, that's always a red flag. It's a sign that this is okay for him right now. He's happy to take what you have to offer right now. But if you've been on and off several times, or he's broken up with you several times before, and he's just going back and forth all on his own, and you're there and you've been available and shown interest in him, it's a clue that he just doesn't have any intention of marrying you or committing to a real relationship with you. So on and off is always a red flag. If you've broke up once before, and then maybe you come to learn about this work and you've realized you've been pushing him away, and then you shift on the inside and things come back together, that's one thing. But I always say, if things haven't worked out in the past before, it's usually a red flag. But if you've been on and off over and over and over again, and that's your pattern, there's something about that. He's getting something from you without having to fully commit to the kind of relationship you want. If what you want is more, right? And men in this situation often know that you want more. It's obvious to him. It's obvious to everybody. So you don't want to be just holding out hope that this guy is going to somehow magically transform and say, "From you for the last 6 months, I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to really put both feet in now." It just doesn't happen when you're hanging on to him in that way. So the 7th, and I believe most important thing that you might be saying if a man is using you, is anything that sounds like, he won't commit, but he won't let me go. Or he loves me, but he says we're just friends. He loves me, but he can't be in a relationship right now because of this reason. But I can't tell you how many times I hear women say, he won't commit, but he won't let me go. And they often ask, why won't he let me go? Why does he still keep me around? And the answer to me is obvious, because this is a great deal for him. It's a terrible deal for you, by the way, but it's a great deal for him. He gets to get all the benefits of being around you. Maybe you're sleeping together. He gets to hang out with you, or even take you on dates, because just because a man isn't ready for a real relationship, or just because he doesn't see that with you, doesn't mean that he doesn't still crave the company of a woman or the ego boost or whatever comes along with that for him. So it's really our responsibility as women. If a guy isn't committing, you don't need to wait for his permission to move on or date other men. If he's not committing and that's what you want, it's time for you to take responsibility, in my opinion and experience, and take a stand for what you truly want and deserve, and move through the men who aren't in alignment with that in order to move on to the next better match for you. So those are the 7 things I wanted to share with you today. If anyone would like a recap, let me know in the chat, and I can do that at the end. Let me see if I can get to some questions. Hi, Rosie Rose. AD says, I have a question. A guy acts like a boyfriend, FaceTimes me daily, and does great things, but doesn't ask me on actual dates. Is that a major concern? Yes, I would say that's a major concern. That's number 1, right? I've been talking to this guy for X amount of weeks or months. What you can do is say something like, it's been really great getting to know you. It's been so much fun chatting with you, and I would love to meet up in person sometime. Or what I'm looking for is a regular dating relationship where we can meet up in person, and see what he does. Does he just keep FaceTiming you? Because the risk you're running here is you getting attached, you getting invested. It doesn't really work that way for men. Men often don't get attached by messaging and talking the way we do. So I would hate for you to, be getting more attached every time you talk to him or see him on FaceTime or something like that. And he's just right where he was all along. So I would have that conversation, get clarity, and then see what he does. That'll give you a lot of information. So let's see. We hang out and do things, but not official dates. Oh, great. Yeah. So you can say something like, what I'm actually looking for is something that's leading towards a committed relationship. And if you're not up for that, let me know. It would feel good to know whether or not we're on the same page before continuing to just hang out, something like that. Let me know if that was helpful. Amanda says, I'm in so much pain tonight. You've helped me so much. I'm really hurting. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Amanda. I'm glad that this was helpful for you. She says, I cannot even imagine as a woman sending a man a message for shoes or data or that I'm hungry. I'm so hurt. And I've just answered my own questions. Yes, I think you were maybe on my last live stream and a man was asking you for money or for shoes or clothes or something. So yes, obviously if a guy is asking for something like that, especially if you don't know him really in any situation, he's just using you. So I'm glad that this helped give you some clarity. Tima says, what if mine says he isn't sleeping with anybody? It's just that he feels behind in life and wants to work as much as possible. He loves my company, is exclusive with me, but he doesn't want commitment. Yeah, I think he's being real straightforward right there. That is number 3, right? The excuses. He needs to work as much as possible. What you don't want is for some other woman to come along and he really feels that for her and he commits to her, right? And you've just been there waiting, this true blue woman all along. So if what you want is commitment, I certainly would not be exclusive with a guy who doesn't want that. You could say, I'm happy to keep dating you, but what I want is a, real committed relationship that leads to lifelong partnership or marriage or whatever it is you're looking for. And if you're not available for that, I'm going to need to let you go and move on, or at least not be exclusive. So you have the chance to go and find what you want, because I'd hate for you to come back in a year or two and he's at the exact same place. And again, just because he isn't out there sleeping with other women, he's still getting to be around you. He's still getting all the benefits of a relationship with you without having to commit to one. So that's really, really important. So, okay, I'm glad that was helpful, AD. Awesome. Let's see what else. Jane says, I absolutely adore you. Thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. You're the best. You're so welcome. Oh, so good to see everybody here. Vancouver gal says, hi, Helena. The guy I'm seeing just doesn't call me when I told him a few times it would make me happy. He does other things right. He also said calling is a two-way street. So it is, how important is this to you? If it really is a true deal breaker for you and you've expressed that and he's not willing to meet you there, that gives you a lot of information about what kind of partner he would be. But if he's showing up in other ways, if he's seeing you 3 times a week and he's just not a phone guy, maybe that's enough for you. Maybe that would be enough for someone else. I think to me, I wouldn't matter that much if I was talking on the phone or texting a guy all day. If I were single, as long as I was seeing him all the time and he was moving things forward. So you have to decide what's important to you and is he willing to meet you there or not? I hope that was helpful. Linda says, most of these sounded so familiar about the man I was involved with for more than a year. I've been very hurt and it's hard for me to move on. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, having this awareness is so helpful though. And I just don't believe this will ever happen to you again because you're not going to fall for it. You won't fall for a guy's excuses once you have this awareness, especially once you've been through it. So I'm glad you were able to at least begin the process of moving on. I have a podcast episode on my Master Your Magnetism podcast called 3 Steps to Get Over Someone or Move On After a Breakup. I can include a link to that too in the description of this after it posts, if anyone wants to go check that out. That one might be helpful. Let's see. I'm in a perpetual state of confusion. Yes, that's number 2. I don't know if you're just joining, but number 2 is I'm so confused. So again, always a red flag. You can, of course, ask for clarity. You can say, hey, I'm feeling a little confused about whatever situation's going on here. It would feel good to know that we're on the same page or get some clarity before moving forward and see what he does. Don't be afraid to bring that up, because a guy who's truly for you is going to be like, oh my gosh, you're confused. I don't want that. And the guy who's not truly for you is going to make excuses and say, I'm so busy. It's just not a good time. You're going to get a lot of information from his response to you just asking for clarity. It's okay to do that. Bonatella says, don't be his placeholder. I completely agree. Tima says, he says it's because of work. When we can, we hang out considering we both love each other's company. I can't have the headaches of dealing with one. Yeah, it's up to you. If this is okay with you, if you're okay with this situation exactly as it is right now, that's fine. But it doesn't sound like you are. It sounds like you want a little more. So what you don't want to do is just put yourself on hold for this guy and buy into his excuses, and then a year or two go by and you're in the exact same place. So you have to decide what it is you want. Do you just want this guy however you can get him? Perfectly fine if that's okay with you. But if you're here and you're asking these questions, it sounds like you might want more than what he's offering you right now. So it's just something to think about. How forward can you be when expressing what you're looking for or what you want? Great question, Katerina. I think you can be super straightforward. I have a lot of videos on my channel on how to express your feelings and needs and desires or boundaries coming from your feminine energy. And if you have a specific situation, let me know. But that might sound something like, hey, it's been really great getting to know you. This feels great. And what I'm looking for is this, or this is what I would need in order to continue. And I'm so looking forward to that. Or, I mean, there's so many different kinds of situations. It would feel good to know whether or not we're on the same page before moving forward. Just coming at it like that, framing it in a positive way, letting him know that it's been great spending time together or whatever it is he is doing, right? And this is what you would need in order to continue, or this is what would feel good to you. And then ask him what he thinks about that. Ask him if there's something he would need. And again, his response to that will give you so much information about what he's up for and his intentions and how he feels about you. So I hope that was helpful. But you can just search on my channel. You can type in Helena Hart needs or Helena Hart boundaries. There's so many videos on exactly what to say depending on your situation. Okay, let's see. Oh, we just got a bunch more questions. I can't see them until I put them on the screen, so just bear with me. So she says, I always love your show. It pains me. I came in late. The replay will be posted right after, so you can go back and catch the beginning. She says, well, I've been dating this guy for 4 months now. We've had a couple dates together, and it's been wonderful, though I'm having, though I'm having health issues, but that's not an issue for him because he always wants to take care of me and my health. Right now, we hardly talk like we used to since he relocated. He blames it on the new job and all that. If I can't reach out, it's a problem, but he hardly reaches out since the new job and location. Okay, I'm seeing a couple red flags here. First, it's been, I believe, 4 months and you've only had a couple dates. I don't want people to be dating or talking to a guy for months and months and months. You've only seen him a couple times. So if you are long distance now, for whatever reason, I always get the question, well, what if it's long distance? I don't want you putting yourself on hold for someone, especially if you're not exclusive or if you're not in a committed relationship where there's no concrete plans to be together in the same city and move things forward. So you can certainly, keep in, contact with him or keep communicating if that feels good, but just get really clear about what you want and see if this guy is in alignment with that. But I'm definitely seeing some red flags here. Something about that doesn't feel right to me. So just make sure that you're on the same page before investing yourself at all in a guy, especially if he's long distance. For everyone, just want everyone to become aware of that. You're welcome, Vancouver gal. I'm glad that was helpful. AD says, post the link about getting over a guy. Okay, great. Yeah, as soon as this posts, I'll include that in the description of this episode. And that was with Donna Barnes, a breakup recovery coach. It was great. You'll really, really like that episode. Okay, let's see. Can we have an overview of the phrases, please? Yes, thank you for asking. I always forget to do a recap unless somebody asks. So number one is I've been talking to this guy for X amount of months or for 2 years. I don't want you talking to a guy endlessly if he's not asking you out and moving things forward and showing you with his consistent actions that he's serious about you and wanting to pursue you for the kind of relationship you want. Number two is I'm so confused or I'm so exhausted. Anything like that, that's your intuition alerting you to the fact that something's not right here. And again, you can always ask for clarity, but what's truly for you is going to bring you clarity anyway, not confusion. Number three is anything that sounds like repeating his excuses or rationalizing his behavior. If someone asks you, when's the last time you saw him or talked to him, or when are you going to see him next? And you just find yourself spouting out his excuses like, well, he's really busy right now. I've seen some of these already, even in the live chat. His job took him to a new place, and so he doesn't have a lot of time to contact me anymore. Anything that sounds like you explaining to others his excuses for why he's not prioritizing you or committing is always a red flag. Number 4 is, why must we play these games? Or men need to grow up, or stop acting like little boys, or I'm so tired of all these awful men out there. That's a clue that you're stuck on the wrong person. You're just not going to say those things with the right person. So number 5 is, how do I get him to forget about his ex, or get over this other woman, or choose me over her? If there's another woman in the picture, there's just no way on earth that can possibly feel good to you. And if he's keeping you around, but also keeping other women around, he's using you. There's something he's getting out of that. And he just has no intention of fully committing often. And often men in that situation, things are a lot more serious with this other woman than they're letting on, but they don't want to really convey that to you because, again, they like something they're getting from you. They don't want to let go of those benefits they're getting. Number 6 is, we've been on and off for 8 months or 5 years or 2 years. On and off is usually a red flag. Men who are on and off with women often have no intention of marrying them or committing to something serious. But again, there's something about them that they're getting something from, that they like those benefits, but they really have no intention of fully committing. Usually a red flag when I hear that someone's been on and off. And number 7, the most important one in my opinion, is he won't commit, but he won't let me go. So it's our responsibility to let go of the men and move through the men who aren't available for the kind of relationship that we want, and not stay stuck on them or wait for permission to move on. That's really, really important. So I hope that was helpful. Let's get back to some of these questions. Let's see. Thank you, Helena. Lastly, is it normal if I want flowers, yet my guy says it's not his love language and his is quality time? Can guys still love you yet not surprise you like that, just in general? Yeah, similar to the question about calling, is what he's offering you enough for you or not? Like, is this really a deal breaker for you? Is gifts or flowers or physical touch or whatever your love language is that so important to you, and he is so not that way? It's just going to be an uphill battle the whole relationship. So just catch that. Yeah, he can still love you and not buy you flowers, absolutely. But is this working for you? The flowers isn't really the issue. I think the bigger issue is does he want to be a good partner? Is he showing you with his consistent actions over time that he's motivated to be a great partner to you for the long haul? That's a great question for everyone to ask themselves. Okay, let's see. You're welcome. Okay. Bonatella says, the busy excuse is just a nice way of fading out or keeping you on standby while he pursues other women. Totally agree. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. I'm glad my answer was helpful. Tima says, ooh, I get it. It's not that I'm being selfish about him wanting to prioritize me, but I'm being that has to look out for herself too. Like, I want to feel safe with the person I'm with forever. Yes, that's exactly what I was getting at there. So I'm glad that was helpful. Guys will keep women around to practice on and boost the ego, so they're not actually thirsty with the women they want. Yeah, I spoke about that a little earlier. So just because you're not sleeping with a guy doesn't mean that he's not using you for that ego boost or for that confidence or practice. So when the right woman for him comes along, he can, be that man who commits to her right away. We just don't want you being that placeholder woman, I think is how you put it earlier. That's brilliant. You don't want to be that fallback girl that he just knows he can snap his fingers and she's going to come running, right? Okay. Sandra says, sounds familiar. Sounds so familiar, as you know, Helena. I get it. Yes. So true. Number 7 was right on, Linda says. I had that question all along. Yes. Okay. Well, this was great. I just had about 30 minutes, so I'm so glad I could come on and connect with everyone today. Let me know your thoughts and experiences with this. If you're watching the replay, down below in the comment section, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to go over to my Master Your Magnetism podcast. That's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else where you can listen to podcasts. That's where I'm spending most of my time these days. So if you're not following me over there on Apple or Spotify or anywhere where you like to listen to podcasts, you're missing all of my new content, in my opinion, my best, most in-depth material. So definitely go follow me over there. I can include links to that in the description of this video as soon as the replay posts. Also, you can follow me on Instagram now, Helena Hart Coaching. There are still fake accounts out there using my name and photos to scam people out of money. So make sure you're following this one right here. If you're watching on YouTube, it shows on the screen, Helena Hart Coaching. You can also go to Instagram.com/Helena Hart Coaching. If you want to actually type in the link, that is the last link in the description or episode details. And just checking in one more time with the comments. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad this was helpful. And also, I think I have one free gift for you too. Let me see if I have a banner for it. Here it is right here. Yeah. Click the first link in the description to get my free gift. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, that'll be the second link. That's my 3 keys to attract the man you want. It's a PDF report and audio training, totally free. And that will help you whether you're single and looking to start off on the right foot and attract the right partner, or if you have a man in your life already and you want to bring him closer than ever. So I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're so welcome, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you next time.